Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another live duel. This time, two epic decks are going to clash. Blue-Eyes White Dragon, upgraded with the new cards from the Legendary Collection Kaiba set, against Burning Abyss Infernoid, a creepy competitive deck inside of this February 2018 format. Now, Blue-Eyes is piloted by Xander, and he's going to start off with a pretty saucy play, something that Blue-Eyes isn't normally accustomed to going to unless you are playing the invoked version. He's going to bring out alternative White Dragon, and then the trade-in is going to get him into a terraforming to get Magical Meltdown. Now, Meltdown is going to be activated, and then that's going to go ahead and tutor him right into the combo. It's not a really saucy combo where Blue-Eyes hasn't really had a great opening play. It's not great at going first, and this allows him to go first and still make a decent board. Now, there are obviously way bigger boards, way more fearsome boards he could have made with a couple of different cards in his hand, and I'll be able to show you guys that in the deck profile. So let's see if this video can get 150 likes, and we will give you guys a competitive Blue-Eyes White Dragon deck profile. So Aliester is going to search the invocation from his deck to his hand, and now he's ready to make that play using both the Aliester and the Blue-Eyes alternative White Dragon to make a link monster, thus putting Aliester and a light monster in the graveyard. He can now use invocation, and this time he's actually going to banish the Aliester and send an Arc Brave Dragon from his hand to the graveyard to special summon an invoked Kaiba. Now, this board isn't the most amazing board, like I said before, but it does the job in a Blue-Eyes deck, because summoning alternative White Dragon or just summoning a Blue-Eyes White Dragon to your side of the field and passing your turn is very mediocre. So I'm going to start off by special summoning Farfa, normal summoning Fiendish Warrior Rhino, and then making a Dante, sending 3 cards from my deck to my graveyard, and then triggering both Fiendish Warrior Rhino and Graf Malbrink of the Burning Abyss. And Burning Abyss Infernoid is no slouch whatsoever. I feel that it's probably the most superior build between any Infernoid variant, because you have so many cards working for you in your favor, and you don't have to rely on playing 60 cards, or even if you decide to play a 40 card variant, you don't have to rely on the reliance of Light Swords, which are just infinitely better, again in my opinion, as its own separate deck. So Dante is going to build 3 and gain the effects of my monsters, and since the Burning Abyss and the Infernoid cards work so much better than Light Sworn and Infernoid, I'm going to be able to special summon Skarm to my side of the field, and then the Seer's effect is going to activate. That's going to be sent through the Fiendish Warrior Rhino. I'm going to go ahead and special summon Farfa to my side of the field. Now, I should have special summoned Graf to my side of the field because there's already a Farfa under the Dante, and you can only gain your Burning Abyss monster's effects once. So that is a bit of a misplay, but it doesn't really hurt the value or the greatness of this game, of these two awesome decks clashing. Now, breaking that Kaiba is going to be a bit of a problem, mainly because it does negate and banish my cards and allows him to play Yu-Gi-Oh! On the next turn. I don't think that that's very possible inside of this deck. Was hoping for him to negate one of my other cards, whether it be Graf or Fiendish Warrior Rhino or something like that, so I can actually start comboing off. But Xander's a pretty smart player, allowing all of that to go through, knowing at very worst he's going to use his Underclock Taker, which he does. Now, I know it's a little hard to see the life points. We're still working on this bird's eye view, guys, so bear with us. We also put some images on the side of the video, and I know they're not as great as MST TV's. I actually got the idea for them, so shout out to him. Really good channel. 3 monsters on the field, which if I would have summoned Graf to my side of the field, it would have been 4 monsters potentially on the field through the effect of Graf to special summon, but hindsight is always 20/20. Xander is going to follow up with another Aliester to search invocation again from his deck to his hand, and now he can probably make another Kaiba. I'm kind of scared at this, mainly because double Kaiba is nothing to play with, which he's going to do that using a White Stone and an Aliester. Now, here's the big problem. This is not the game that Burning Abyss Infernoid wants to be in. Not only does Kaiba negate card effects, but it banishes them, sending them way beyond reach and virtually making them unusable. So that is a huge problem. Kaiba is a terror, and for the people that think that it's just 2,500 attack, well, Aliester likes to say something else about that. It is practically an honest to the deck by discarding itself to give one of his Kaiba monsters 1,000 attack, essentially making his 2,500 attack monster 3,500. Now, we're having a bit of a discrepancy between if his monster would get banished, mainly because my invocations are Italian. Curse me, I hate them, I know, but they're still pretty awesome. He's gonna go ahead and be able to banish the Aliester because we read the card effect, and that's gonna add the Aliester to his hand through the effects of invocation. So now I'm staring at double Kaiba and a Blue-Eyes alternative white dragon, and he's gonna start pushing. He's gonna use the alternative white to destroy the Dante, triggering my Farfa and my Dante. Farfa is going to be negated, and then he's gonna attack over my monsters. Now, Skarm is gonna use its effect on the end phase. Hopefully, he allows all that to go through, but not 100% sure. He does have another negate, and if he does negate that and still have cards in his hand, then I could be in for some trouble. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if he didn't have a game, why he didn't use the White Stone of Ancients to gain another monster from his graveyard to his side of the field. That would have been pretty good. And that probably would have given him a really good chance. Now, I'm going to go ahead and activate the effect of Skarm. He's going to go ahead and activate his effect. As you guys can see, I kind of drew before we actually discussed it. And Skarm's going to get me Libic. And also on top of that, he's going to be able to special summon his Blue-Eyes monster, which again, I think he should have activated his White Stone of Ancients. You know, I put the card back to the top of my deck and then I drew it again. I don't know why I did that, but there it is. And I'm going to use 2 more Burning Abyss monsters to make Dante. That's going to send 3 more cards, one of them being an Infernoid monster. And then now I'm going to normal summon the Card Trooper. And oh my god, we have not seen a card like Card Trooper in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's going to mill 3 additional cards. So that's basically what the Lightsworn monsters were replaced with. Other cards that not only fuel the strategy, but allow me to mill more cards than Lightsworns would from my deck to my graveyard, unless I played a complete Lightsworn engine. So 6 additional cards. I'm going to summon Anuku to my side of the field and not activate its effect to destroy, because I don't want that card banished. I'm going to go ahead into my battle phase and bait out the Kaiba by attacking into it. Anuku's a pretty buff card, and now I'm going to be able to crash into the other Kaiba, and now he's left with 1 card in hand. Now again, I feel that if he would have held on to the White Stone of Ancient, this game would have been his, but hindsight's 2020. I just thought of this as I'm looking at the game, so I'm pretty sure a lot of players would have probably thought the same. Now I'm going to summon the second Anuku to destroy all monsters on the field, and is it going to go through? Regardless, if he has a monster, it's going to be really hard for me to recover from that, losing all of my Infernoids, and yet it's going to be able to go through, and that's going to trigger Card Trooper's effect to draw a card from my deck, and I'm going to pass my turn with a 3,000 beater that can negate spells. So we're in a pretty decent position when it comes to making boards, or when it comes to breaking boards, because Xander did put a lot of energy, effort into making that board, but now it's going to be broken by an Anuku, and fortunately this puts me back into the driver's seat, or into the driver's seat. Looking at what can happen, he's going to pass his turn. I'm going to summon Card Trooper, mill 3 cards, and I can't game him right now with both the Card Trooper and Infernoid, or the Infernoid Anuku. He was at 65, and that's not enough. That's 4,900 damage, bringing him effectively low enough to 1,600, but not low enough to kill him. He's going to go ahead and Soul Charge. I'm going to tribute the Card Trooper to get over the Soul Charge, and now it looks like we're going to be going into game 2. Infernoid Burning Abyss is a terror to deal with, dealing with both the parts of sending cards from the deck to the graveyard as well as summoning your Infernoid monsters. This deck, I feel, is really good. So going into game 2, Xander's going to activate Terraforming for Magical Meltdown, and now Meltdown to search possibly the Aliester. No, he's going to activate a new card, Mausoleum, and that is actually not new, but a really interesting card. It's the Blue-Eyes strategy, activating Mausoleum to target the Maiden, sending a Blue-Eyes to special summon another Blue-Eyes White Dragon to a side of the field. You guys are in for a treat of a board, because you guys are going to be recognizing what Blue-Eyes could do that hasn't been really done. Now, actually, it has been done. A great friend of mine, Andrew Alcaltree, has actually tutored me through these combos, and I showed him the Xander. I'm like, this is what Blue Eyes can do. It's a lot more saucier than anybody has ever thought before. And if you guys want to see a deck profile of Blue Eyes White Dragon, go ahead and destroy that like button. Let's see if we can get 150 likes. I know you guys have it into you. And once we pass that 150 like mark, keep on liking it. It really lets us know as content creators that you guys like seeing videos like this. So he's gonna special summon the White Stone of Ancients, and then destroy the Mausoleum to search the Magical Meltdown to summon the Aleister to his side of the field. And you guys are probably wondering why he got to summon so many times. Well, Mausoleum gets him an additional summon. He's going to use all 3 of those cards to make Decode Talker, and then an invocation to special summon a Makaba. So now he has Makaba, Decode Talker on his side of the field, and I'm looking like, this is kind of nasty. And now his White Stones in phase effect is going to be able to special summon a monster from his field or his deck to his side of the field inside of the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So now he actually has a card to point to Decode that I have to bait to get over his board. And then I have to get over his Makaba, and then I have to deal with whatever else he has in store for me. So this is not looking good for Infernoids. I'm going to banish the Entra to special summon the Harmonic. Really, really tough to banish monsters from your hand to summon Infernoids because you have no board to play with. Harmonic is going to get negated through Decode Talker. He's going to affect Valor, the Decatron. Oh! Just when I thought I could get over the Makaba by summoning the Decatron and turning it into another Harmonic, he is going to affect Valor the Decatron. Now that is the epitome of nasty. I'm going to activate Foolish Burial, seeing if he's going to let that through. And yes, he's actually going to let that through. I'm going to send a Skarm to the graveyard. There was nothing really dramatic about it. Sending a Graph would net my monster being destroyed. Sending another Infernoid monster, I mean, I guess. But if I remember, my hand wasn't geared enough to summon another Infernoid monster. I'm going to add Tour Guide on my end phase and then pass it back to him. This is pretty good. Infernoids are in, or I'm sorry, Blue Eyes is in the driver's seat, being able to completely dominate this game if they play their cards right. Aleister the Invoker is going to be summoned, and that's going to fetch him an Invocation. Now he's going to use both Effect Valor and the Aleister to summon another Makaba to his side of the field, shuffling the Invocation back into his deck to get Aleister. Now it's not looking good for me, mainly because Decode Talker is 3,300, both Makabas are 2,500, but even more importantly, he has an Aleister in his hand, which can give one of his monsters 1,000 attack. I only have 8,000 life points, can't give all the life points in the world to save my game. Actually, all the life points in the world would definitely save the game. But still, he is going to attack for game, forcing that game 3. Blue Eyes is a great deck, being able to finish you off quietly and make invoked Makabas at the same time. This deck is just freaking awesome. Now we're going to finally be able to take you guys into game 3. It's going to be really exciting to show you guys this. Both decks have showed you a little bit of something of what they can do. And again, if you guys want to see either deck profile, go ahead and destroy that like button. Over 150 likes. Let's go. I know you guys can do it. Also, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments, let them down below in the comment section. We actually do have a question of the day. What do you guys think is better for both decks? Would you rather see, or do you guys like the version that you guys are being presented to you, which would be Invoked Blue Eyes or Burning Abyss Infernoid, or do you guys prefer the pure route? Now, the pure route obviously has its drawbacks, but then it has the benefits of being a pure route. Unfortunately, most pure decks aren't that competitive, but it's still pretty fun to see. I might be able to include both the pure versions on my Patreon, so I'm going to start off pretty decently with one of the deck's pseudo win conditions, being able to activate Void Feast, sending Void Imagination to the graveyard to special summon both Decatron and a Jet to my side of the field. Decatron's effect sending both Anuku and Deviati to the graveyard, be able to negate a spell or trap or monster effect, and banish them, by tributing a monster on my side of the field. And the Jet's just a nice 2,400 body. Xander trying to figure out, damn, how the hell am I going to be able to break this board? He's going to summon, that's right, that D monster, discarding the Mausoleum of the Emperor to search a card. Am I gonna let it go through? Yes, I'm going to let it go through. I'm not gonna negate that particular monster effect. I'm gonna leave it on the board. That's gonna leave an opening for him to enter his battle phase and then attack over whatever monster he wants to. Not 100% sure. Actually, I am pretty sure why I did that. I wanted to stop a real monster effect. Had he follow up with a Blue-Eyes alternative or alternative to destroy my other spell-ending monster, then he would have been scot-free with the Melody of Dragon Awakening into whatever play he really wanted to make. So he's going to activate his Melody, discarding a card or discarding the Affirmation Goliath to add the alternative in Blue-Eyes White Dragon from his deck to his hand. And now he's in a pretty decent spot, or at least I like to think he's in a pretty decent spot, being able to special summon the Blue-Eyes White Dragon or Blue-Eyes Alternative Dragon to his side of the field and then make some pretty good plays. He's going to summon the alternative and probably use the alternative to get rid of the Decatron. No Decatron this time is going to banish the monster to his side of the field by tributing itself. And now we're looking at quite some game. He's already entered his battle phase. I have Jet and quite a bit of Infernoid monsters in my graveyard to my side of the field. What can he do to break this board? It's going to be really interesting to see how Xander can overcome this type of board. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my turn. And hopefully I'll be able to net some type of advantage. I'm going to banish one to summon Harmonic. I'm going to attempt to summon another Harmonic only to realize that I have over 8 on my side of the field. So I'm going to tribute these Jet to banish his Goliath, then summon the second Harmonic to my side of the field. Now I could inflict 3,200 damage, or I can get greedy, summon Dante, and then see if I can get some more effects. One is Skarm, the other is Farfa. Farfa isn't the greatest card right now, but I think I milled the Phoenix Royal Rhino, which sends a monster from my deck to my graveyard, which is pretty freaking awesome. Now, hindsight 2020, I probably should have used the Farfa to banish the Dante, to get the Dante out of the extra monster zone, unless I actually had a ability to use the Dante for link material right then and there, or just inflict the 2,500 damage. It kind of doesn't matter. And now that I think about it, I made a Beatrice, so I can't really argue with that. And then in-phase Skarm effect to search a tour guide from the underworld from my deck to my hand. So Beatrice is a really powerful card, mainly because it allows me to send monsters from my deck to my graveyard, cards from my deck to my graveyard, whether it be Infernoid or Burning Abyss. More importantly though, I can gain the materials Cough Cough Dante under the card's material and get some pretty awesome effects. Now he's going to summon Allister to his side of the field, and Allister is a pretty decent card, adding Invocation. You guys should already know what that does. And unfortunately, I don't think he's able to get off any creepy combos. I'm going to go ahead and use Beatrice to send Farfa preemptively to make sure he doesn't fusion summon with that Allister. And then Dante's effect to add the Skarm from my deck to my hand. And then he's going to do something so tragic. He's going to activate the Invocation anyways. And I'm like, no, I was not expecting that. I mean, you only have so many copies in your deck. I was not expecting him to go ahead and make the Invoked Macabre by using Allister in his hand. It was pretty frightening at that point in time, and only to realize that he can get the Allister back by using the Invocation in his graveyard. It was a risk that did not pay off. He's going to attack into the Beatrice and then discard for the destruction of Beatrice, and then he's going to discard for the negation of Beatrice. So like, that's so nasty. That is really nasty. He did use quite a bit of resources, so my next turn play might be more beneficial now than ever before. I'm going to summon Tour Guide of the Underworld. Tour Guide of the Underworld to special summon Libic to my side of the field, and then both monsters for an Exceed summon possibly of another Dante. That'll be interesting to see. That'll be spicy. Another Dante to get. No, it's going to be Leviair. Levier's effect to detach to special summon Infernoid Decatron. Decatron's effect to send from the deck to the graveyard, possibly a Harmonic. That is pretty saucy with the abuse of Leviair, and it's understandable why Decatrons were banished instead of other Inferno monsters. The only monster that could be special summoned is the Decatron, so sending Harmonic to the graveyard to destroy the Macabre. Oh man, I was actually expecting the Macabre to negate that effect and banish the Decatron, and then I probably would have had a different sequence of boards of cards going on the board, which would have been to my advantage. But now looking back at it, I can't summon another Infernoid. I actually have 9 on the boards, but what I can do is use all 3 of those monsters for a Link summon, and since Links do not have a rank or level. They don't count towards the Infernoid. So all 3 to make a Decode Talker, and then 3 more to summon in the Nuku, and that is game, fellas. That's pretty awesome. Really good to see these 2 decks go at it. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. If you guys want to see more content like this, go ahead and click on one of these. But also, thank you to all of my supporters, whether it's buying, trading, or Patreon. Please like, comment, subscribe. But most of all, enjoy, fellas. I'll catch you on the deck profile because I know you guys have it in you to get it that many likes.